Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
First of all, let's introduce ourselves. 1. Fitri NurIndah Sari, 8320200126. 2. Liqok Zakiya, 8320200129. 3. Elvira Rosa Amelia, 8320200134. 4. Elyazahra Eida Putri, 8320200113. 5. Zulva Aulina, 8320200136. And Amelia Rahma Salsabilla, 8320200140. We are from Group 5, would like to present the result of our discussion about communication strategies. Communication strategy. Introduction. For most people, the main goal of learning foreign language is to be able to communicate. It is through communication that people send and receive messages effectively and negotiate meaning. Rubin and Thompson, 1994-30. The purpose of this paper is to survey the literature of communication strategies and develop some recommendations for teachers working in this context. The recommendations regarding how to develop learners' communicative strategies are put forward. Overview of communication strategy. Basically, communicative strategies are attempts made by creative language learners to circumvent their linguistic difficulties or inadequacies in order to communicate with the listener or interlocutor. Such strategies are generally used when the limited knowledge of learners makes it difficult for them to express their intended message. Selinker, 1977-37, defined communicative strategy as an identifiable approach by the learner to communicate with native speakers of the target language. Communication strategy is also often discussed as one of language learning strategy taxonomies. The importance of strategy competence in communication has been widely recognized since Canal and Swine, 1980-30, included it as one of the components in their well-known construct of communicative competence. They define it as verbal and non-verbal strategies that may be called into action to compensate for breakdowns in communication due to performance variables or to insufficient competence. According to these scholars, 4 different components make up communicative competence. The 4 components are 1. Grammatical competence, knowledge of the language code, such as grammatical rules, vocabulary, pronunciation, spelling, and etc. 2. Discourse competence, the ability to combine language structures into different types of cohesive text. Example, political speech and poetry. 3. Sociolinguistic competence, the mastery of the socio-cultural code of language use, such as appropriate application of vocabulary, register, polytonics, and style in a given situation. 4. Strategic competence refers to the knowledge of verbal and nonverbal communication strategies.
Okay, the communication strategy taxonomy. There are different ways of classifying communication strategy. However, most of the attempts to classify communication strategy reflect more or less the same categorizations. Tier 1 is taxonomy. 1. Topic avoidance. When learners are already aware of gaps in their repertoire, an obvious strategy is to try to avoid occasions which will present difficulty. 2. Message abandonment. When learners encounter a problem while a communication is actually taking place, it is therefore too late to use avoidance, except they simply abandon their message. 3. The use of paraphrase. Learners may use a paraphrase description of circumlocution in order to express the meaning which they want to express. Okay, the 4 is coinage or creating new words. Learners may create a new word or phrase which they hope will express their derived meaning. 5. Native language switching. Instead of attempting to create a new word with the language target material, a speaker or learner might decide to simply leave a word from his own native language. 6. Miming. The use of non-linguistic resource. The learner often use non-linguistic resources, example mime gesture or imitation, to make his meaning clearer. Okay, the last is appeal of assistance. A learner may seek help from outside by using a bilingual dictionary.
Element leaving a message unfinished because of language difficulties. Topic avoidance, avoiding topic areas of concept that pose language difficulties. Compensatory strategies. Number 1, circumlocution, describing or exemplifying the target object of action, e.g., the thing you open bottles with the cork crew. Number 2, approximation, using an alternative term which expresses the meaning of the target lexical item as closely as possible, e.g., ships for sailboat. Number 3, use of all-purpose words, extending a general empty lexical item to contexts where specific words are lacking, e.g., the overuse of things, stuff, what do you call it, and thingy. Number 4, word coinage, creating a non-exciting L2 word based on supposed rule, e.g., vegetarians for vegetarian, vegetarianist for vegetarian. Number 5, prefab, prefabricate patterns using memories stock phrase usually for survival purpose, e.g., where is the blah blah blah, or comment allows false where the morphological components are not known to the learner. Number 6, non-linguistic signal, meme, gesture, facial expression, or sound imitation. Number 7, literal translation, translating literally a lexical item, idiom, compound word, or structure from L1 to L2. Number 8, foreignising, using L1 words by adjusting it to L2 phonology, EA with L2 pronunciation, and or morphology, e.g., adding to it a L2 suffix.
Okay, number 9 is code switching, using an L1 word with L1 pronunciation or an L3 word with L3 pronunciation while speaking in L2. Number 10, appeal for help, asking for aid from the interlocutor either directly. Example, what do you call blah blah blah? Or indirectly. Example, pricing intonation, pause, eye contact, and puzzled expression. Number 11, stalling or time gaining. Using fillers or hesitation devices to fill pauses and to gain time to think. Example, well, now, let's see, as a matter of fact. Salsabilla et al.'s taxonomy. Classify communication strategies into 5 main types, namely avoidance or reductant strategies, achievement or compensatory strategies, stalling or time-gaining strategies, self-monitoring strategies, and interactional strategies. Number one, avoidance reduction strategies, message replacement, topic avoidance, and message abandonment. Number two, achievement or compensatory strategies, circumlocution, example, the thing you open bottles with for corkscrew, and approximation, example, fish for carp, all-purpose word, example, things, and thing and magic, non-linguistic means, mime, pointing, gesture, drawing pictures. Restructuring, example, the bus was very blah, blah, blah. There were a lot of people on it. Word coitage, example, vegetarianist, literal translation from L1, code switching to L1 or L3, and then retrieval, example, bro, run, bronze.
Okay, number three, styling or time gaining strategies, fillers, hesitation devices, and gambits. For example, well, actually, where was self, and other repetition. Number four, self-monitoring strategies of immediate repair. For example, I mean, self-repressing, over-elaboration. For example, this is for student who fails when you're at school. Number five, interactional strategies, appeal for help, direct, for example, what do you call? Indirect, for example, I don't know the word in English, or puzzle expression, meaning negotiation strategies, indicator of non or misunderstanding requests. Repetition request, for example, pardon, or could you say that again, please? Clarification request, for example, what do you mean by? And then confirmation request. For example, did you say? And next, expression of non-understanding. Verbal, for example, sorry, I'm not sure I understand. Non-verbal, raise eyebrow, blank look. Interpretive summary, for example, you mean, so what you're saying is respond or repetition, repressing, expansion, reduction, confirmation, rejection, and repair. Comprehension check, whether the interlocutor and can follow you. For example, am I making sense? Whether what you said was correct or grammatical. For example, can I you say that? And then whether the interlocutor is listening. For example, on the phone, are you still here? Are you still there? And then the last, whether the interlocutor can I hear you?
And the next, expression of non-understanding of verbal, for example, sorry, I'm not sure understand. And non-verbal, raise eyebrows, blank looks. In the practice summary, takes you mean, so what you are saying is, and response, repetition, replacing, expansion, reduction, confirmation, rejection, and repair. Complication checks, whether an interlocutor can follow you, for example, I'm making sense, whether what you said was correct or grammatical. For example, for example, can you say that? And whether the interlocutor is listening, for example, on the phone, are you there? and whether the interlocutor can hear you, and pedagogical implications. Some people can communicate effectively in foreign language with only 100 words. And there are strategies such as using their hand, imitating the sound or movement of things, mixing language, creating new word, describing or curriculating something they do not know the word for it. In short, they use communication strategy. Their success in communication relies entirely on their ability to communicate with sections, and teachers play an important role in convey communication strategy to students and assisting them to practice the target language. This is accordance for Oxford. One statement, the language learning strategy are tools of active self-direction involvement which are essential for developing communication competence. In other words, for each language, learners should be to communication strategy so as prove their strategic competence. And the next, opportunities to practice strategies shall be provided as spirit class active as well as with regular classroom language training and activity. Learners should also be given opportunities to reflect on and evaluate the effectiveness of the practice and strategy. Real-life communication in foreign language is frequent pro. Learning a language is not complete without learning communication strategy, even though as learning have learned grammar, vocabulary, and some useful expression for conversation. They need to learn how to for face-to-face confrontation when they meet communication breakdown in their confrontations. Teaching communication strategy is an effective way to improve learners' communicative competence. It is also a practical way of profiting them from over relying on combined with activities that aid the development of learning vocabulary. In this way, they are then provided not only with tools to communicate effectively, but also with opportunity to expand their vocabulary well. And that's all from our presentations. If there are wrong words, forgive me. Thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
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 Assalamualaikum
warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.